Scouts BSA. The new gender neutral name is designed to reflect the group's new openness to admitting girls. The Boy Scouts Going Co-Ed eliminates one of the last healthy all-male groups open to young men. Given that young men are really struggling in this country, what are the implications of this, if any? Tammy Bruce is a radio host. She thinks deeply about changes to American society, and so we wanted to ask her view. How you doing, Tammy?
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So I've got a bunch of girls, and I love them, and I want what's best for them. And so, joining the Boy Scouts is good for them. I'm for that. But I really worry that there aren't many places where boys can be boys, where they're not under attack for being boys. And I always thought of the Boy Scouts as one of those places, and now it isn't that. So should I be worried? Well,
I think that this does not indicate that that's the case, I think, really. Let's keep in mind this is about also perhaps declining membership. In the 70s, the Boy Scouts had like 5 million members. They've gone down about 12% since 2012. They're at about 2.3 million now. So this is also, we want the Boy Scouts to survive. They've been instrumental in the strength of the country, in creating leaders in government, in science, in space travel. We need them. And I think that what's happening here, certainly in the 21st century, is that, and maybe the Boy Scouts can show us the way, that this can still be categories and events and projects and an overarching view about the strength of boys and the importance of those relationships, that boys with boys and the nature of the strength of what young men do, while also being able to weave in young women. And in their plans, what I've read is that these will be separate programs. While it's changing to Scouts, the overarching name remains Boy Scouts of America. And look, I think that this is also part of the Boy Scout framework about being able to help the nation in general. And I think we're at a stage where for the young women who want to have this kind of great experience, keep in mind the Girl Scouts really aren't offering that now. It's more about a social justice warrior framework. And they're missing out on this dynamic. And I think that if the parents stay involved, the volunteers are involved, and Americans make it clear that girls probably want to join because they want the same experience and at least the character building, certainly, that the Boy Scouts offer.
Interesting. So you're more optimistic about this than I am. Well, just wonder, in 2018, could you have an all-male group that wasn't derided as anti-female, and that wasn't, in fact, anti-female?
No.
I mean, you can have a single-sex organization that's not mad at the other sex, obviously.
Sure.
Do we have room for that in our society?
Well, we should, obviously, and just because the left doesn't like it doesn't mean that we have to adapt and accept their point of view about what's wrong. And this is my worry about the slippery slope, is that, look, I think it's good, it can be managed, but you know what the left is going to do? They're then going to argue that, well, you're not treating the girls equally. If these are separate projects, separate experiences, that they're going to start to sue to change the principled base of the Boy Scouts. Now, look, if you want social justice warring, you can join the Girl Scouts. But we already have 3,000 girls who've joined the Cub Scouts because that's what's interesting these young women and their parents. So we've got to stay in touch with this. But we've got to be able to do it. There's nothing that we can do that's going to stop the left from complaining, and we've got to make sure that we push back and stand up for groups like the Boy Scouts that make the difference in this country.
Interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way. You made me feel a little better. Tammy, thank you.
Good. Thank you, dear.
Time next for Final Exam. Stay tuned.